So for the next session, we had the topic was election campaigns, digital technology, social media mobilization in India. We are privileged to have Dr. Anand Deshpande, who is the chairman, founder, and managing director of Persistent Systems with us today. So I'll request Professor Sastry and Dr. Deshpande to kindly come onto the stage and request Dr. Deshpande to say a few words.
Sorry, I'm a last minute addition here, so I'm going to make it very informal and very brief. I was not aware of what I'm supposed to do yet. But, for the last about 2 years or so, I've been dabbling and sort of studying a lot about crypto, Web3, creator economy, and many other related things, which for some reason have gotten a bad name in the last 6 months to a year because of all the crypto collapses. But I think some of the technology sessions or activities that are happening in that area are, I think, very valuable for a decentralized economy that we all, in a way, aspire to. And the idea here is that when you get centralization, you have power, power corrupts. So is there a way to create decentralization in a way without having any central thing? So the computer science community has been working on this topic for many years in different ways. And the intention there is that can we create a system where the system is the way of telling you what the truth is, and these can be completely validated and verified, and anyone who wants to participate in this can be working together. Now, this is a fairly complicated topic, and I don't necessarily want to talk about it here, but I want to share 2 or 3 things why I'm personally interested in this topic. And this goes to 3 basic things that I think are worth thinking about. And let me not keep this to electoral stuff, but talk about ownership as a starting point for what this comes out to, saying that I know I have money, I have access to my assets, buildings, ownership of flats, whatever else. So these are all facts that we believe are facts. So let's say we call them truth. That's the truth that we are focusing on. So that's one important aspect of where we go. The second thing is, why can I say that this property belongs to me or whatever else? Because there is a trusted network that says that this belongs to me. So there is another dimension called trust, which is something that needs to be thought of. And then finally, there is another related dimension called value. So what is the value of a certain asset? So why should a painting be worth so much? Why should money be worth something else? So is currency really something I should trust? What is truth, trust, and value, right? So these are 3 very interesting concepts that are worth deliberation and thinking about. And when we are looking at it from the computer science point of view, the fact is that if I state a truth meaning a fact, that I can record in such a way that trustworthily I can tell you what that fact is always remaining as the fact, then that is really what we are trying to do in computer science most of these cases. And today people are using blockchains as a way to solve this kind of a problem. So there is a lot of different discussion on how to set that up. Now, when you talk about crypto, the idea was that if you look at money has certain properties that are very nice in the sense that you can move money around, it remains certain value, it can be stored for value, it can be kept for the next generation, and a whole bunch of things. So money is one of the more complicated concepts that you need to put into this model. And we have done very well by sort of creating these whole cryptocurrencies and various other technologies, which I'll not again spend too much on, but that has helped in creating the technology necessary for doing this. Now, going back to where we are in this context, so one of the new things that is coming up, which is being referred to as Web3, which is relating to creator economy. And I'm going to give you a very short introduction to that. And I think we can have a more detailed discussion on how some of these techniques can be relevant for the kind of work we are doing here at ADR. So when we talk about creator economy, and the Web3 context, it's best to say what is Web 1, Web 2, and Web 3. Why Web 3? So in Web 1, what happened was that people had websites. So I'm a university entity. I want to share my information. I create Web 1. In Web 2, we had this concept of people adding to the things, which is where social media became very big. So the creator is individuals, like people who are adding stuff on Facebook, your comments, your views. But the ownership of the content belongs to the website. So Facebook can decide, okay, I want to allow these persons and not allow some other person. This guy is banned from my network. Twitter will allow somebody to come in, but not somebody else. I can censor what comes in and not. So this Web 2 has, again, while everybody can express an opinion, the opinions are kept in a centralized website in a sense. So that's where you get into all these Web 2 problems. So the intention is, how do we create Web 3 where the creator owns what he has created and it remains his and nobody else can, quote unquote, cancel that person out. So how can we create systems that allow us to do that? So freedom of expression that we talk about is in the context of how do I do this in a creative and a collective way. So there's a lot of discussion going on this topic as to how do I do this, how do I do privacy in this context, how do I do various other things. And again, this is an area that I would like to introduce for you all for the next meeting, where we can spend more time on trying to think about how computer science and next generation technology can be used to ensure that we get the transparency and decentralization that would be helpful for the future of elections and other things that we are talking about. I want to also complete this with one specific reason why I am interested in this topic, and it's as follows. See, if you think about today, why certain thing are truth or whatever else, the reason it's considered, so let's take money as an example. So you have bank accounts. What is a bank account? It's really a ledger. There's an entry in the bank that says you have so much money. What is the quality of the ledger? That depends on the bank. So which bank you have the money. If the bank goes away, then somebody destroys your ledger, then you are screwed basically. So point is, the quality of ledger really determines the trustworthiness of your transaction in it. Now you stretch this further to international stuff. Right now we had this Russian-Ukrainian problem. US decided that all the Russian money in US banks is zero because we decided, central control. We can define the ledger has been nulled. Simple as that, right? So ledgers can be nulled. So what is the quality of the ledger? Who decides the ledger? People who have good guns. So those who have guns control the ledger. This is the reality today. Now how much do we spend in maintaining the ledger? Almost 8% of our economy is spent in maintaining ledgers, plus the guns that are needed to protect the ledgers. So much money is getting spent because we need ledgers so that we can create this concept of trust and truth. And the ledgers, to maintain these ledgers in our world, we need guns. So all this creates a very centralized and power in few hands. So is there a way to solve this problem in a way where everyone gets access to the same level of various things? How do you keep these systems running? The last 3 to 5 years, there's been a lot of discussion and computer science enhancements on this topic. And I'm going to end here and suggest that these are interesting areas from the technology point of view as well, of thinking about how decentralization might work. And there's a lot of activity going on that. And then thinking about some of the electoral reforms and other things that we are talking about. In the context of decentralization and Web3 may be a good way to think about it. With this, I'm going to stop here and let Professor Shastri add anything else he wants to add on this topic. I'm sorry, I was kind of parachuted in at the last minute. And thank you for for letting me say this. Thank you.
I know it's slightly unusual. So first of all, thanks to Anand for agreeing to come. The reason we invited him is that several reasons, I'll just mention one or two. When you come down from Pune airport, there is a big set of posters, prominent people from Pune. The first picture you'll see is his. So a little background about why we invited him. He's from IIT Kharagpur and he has a PhD in computer science from Indiana University, and he has got several awards. But I think why he is known as a prominent Puneite is because he's the founder of Persistent Systems. Now he's listed on Forbes, etc. And he, from our perspective, we are all self-declared Jholawalas trying to do good to society. He also runs a big foundation, both at a personal and institutional level, and they're supporting a lot of work currently in Maharashtra, but they're all over the country. So, and I was just waiting downstairs to receive him. I thought some Mercedes-Benz will come. Then I saw a familiar looking guy driving a scooter. So he came in a scooter. And he also happens to be the chairman of and board member of several educational institutions, including chairman of IIT Patna and on the board of, I think, Gokhale and Pune University. And at very short notice, he agreed to come and speak to us. So thank you very much. And we have taken note of your suggestions, including your offer that we should discuss this further. So we will do that and take it forward. Thank you, and thanks for your patience.